All right. Welcome back, guys. For those of you interested. Working on the crane check again. I've already started it this morning. Tried to get through the frustrating, irritating, not fun to watch stuff. Yesterday I was working on the chassis. Those of you that may have watched, I was waiting for the last dually part. Got all the tires on. Front end is on. Built and installed my spacers to space out the wider, and I actually installed the servo. So now we have some steering there. So I don't know if this servo will be strong enough, but it kind of gives me an idea of what I was doing. I could always change it out for a different one. At this point, I'm waiting for new drive lines for the front and the back. We've got a long ways to go here, from here all the way to here. At the moment, I'm thinking somewhere in the middle here, I'm going to put a brain card, just a carrier. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Like a floating bearing block, and do a two-piece drive line. So we'll have a universal joint, 3mm rod, might 3D print a cover for it to make it look scale. It'll go to that next block, another universal joint, rod, universal joint. So I'm thinking I'll put some kind of pillow block, I think is what I call it, pillow block right in here, to do a two-piece drive line. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. I know one really long drive line here might get a little sketchy. Not sure. We'll see how it comes. I got parts coming for all that, though. So at the moment, the chassis is kind of sitting, just waiting. That's set aside. This morning, I have got the full crane upper assembly parts in pieces. Pieces, all the pieces. So Bruder does not make it easy to take their stuff apart. They use these really strange, well, I don't say strange, but kind of lock clips that once they lock, they double lock in. They're not really made to come apart. It's been a bit of a nightmare getting this thing apart. This is the crane arm. So this is the lower part of the crane arm. This is the upper part of the crane arm. I've got these apart. These weren't horribly bad. These kind of just the standard clippy that you find in a lot of electronics. So it's literally just start on one end, kind of get it open, and then work your way down, all the way down through them till they're apart. The inner one was actually really easy, which is surprising, but I guess they didn't expect people to get that far, so they didn't make it as hard. It had two of their kind of weird clips on each end, on the front and the back, and then just some really basic little slip clips. Those are easy to snap. So today's adventure is getting this to move. So this guy sits inside of here like this. The way it worked before, this piece is the lower piece to this. Let me make sure I got it right here. Yeah, this way. So this is the lower piece, and you can see it has these little kind of teeth in here. The way this worked before is right here, there was just a little knob you turned. And inside here, there was a gear with a kind of a cam. And it just, as you turned it, clicked and pushed this whole assembly in and out. What I'm wanting to do is I have this 200mm actuator. I'm going to cut this guy up, and this will be laid in here, kind of like this. See you guys better. There we go. So what I need to do is put this internally in here and have it stick out in the back. So this rear part of the actuator come out here. The front part of the actuator will be basically mounted here. So when this gets pushed out, it'll be anchored here, but then it'll be anchored back here, but it'll slowly push out. And this isn't, I don't think it's going to push it all the way. I think I'm going to lose like 10 mil, just a little. This was the best fitting actuator for this. It's really the longest one I could find. I think there was some longer ones, but they get bigger in diameter. This one's 200mm. Should be plenty. It should work fine and keep it nice and simple. So I'm going to have to be digging this out. So I will actually probably go to my shop. I probably won't stay live here with you guys, but I'm going to be digging all this webbing out. Not all of it, but as much as I have to. I know it probably gives some rigidity in here. I think maybe once I get this mounted in here, so it'll be kind of like that, but obviously recessed down in. Once it's in there, I might come along and epoxy some in here a little bit to give it some rigidity back. I'm going to try to cut the webbing just wide enough that this can slot in. On the back of this here, I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to notch it out this way so that this can stick through. And it should stick through just enough that I can leave this tail, because this is where the capture is, to snap it into the other piece. I don't want to lose that function. I prefer not to be gluing part serviceable. But the idea is that that'll stick out back here, which will allow me to anchor it into here. So it'll be in here kind of like, I'll put the wire out of the way. It'll kind of sit in here like this. So you'll see this tail. And I'll probably 3D print a structure in here, allow me to bolt this and glue this all in. So it can be unbolted, but then the piece I 3D print will glue in to give it a good anchor point. And kind of the same in the front. It'll be in here like this. I'll cut some of this webbing out up here and probably 3D print a part that locks and it just fits in here nice and tight. Gives a good anchor point. Might have to drill some holes through the side of this. We'll see, just to be able to access this bolt when it's in place. Otherwise, when I glue this part in, I don't know, some things. Maybe I'll just put a bolt all the way through so there's no hole. This is the external part. Oh no, this is the internal part, so no, I can't do that. So, oh yeah, I could, yeah, just drill a hole. Probably be the best thing. And that way I can have access to this bolt to unbolt it and take it out if I need to. Anyway, yeah, so there's that part. This is the, snap it back together, but this is the outer part here. This is the attachment point for the original rod they've had. And it was a similar thing. It was just one of these little guys, and you turned it, and it came out, and turned it and pulled in. So same kind of mechanism. It's the, you know, kid's toy. They can play around with it. That is going to get replaced with another actuator. This is a 150 millimeter one. Oh, come here. There we go. All right. Yep. So that's going to be its replacement right there. Almost exactly the same size. Works out perfect. And this will go, well, this part of it will attach up here. And this lower part will be down on the chassis deck, which is currently in pieces. So that is currently what we're looking at. So we'll have these two actuators. This will control the lift of the arm, the boom arm. This one will control the extension of the boom arm. So that is where we're at with that. Once I get those two parts done, I can put this all back together. The next thing I have to figure out is getting the whole crane assembly, the kind of the crane house, to rotate on the bed. Neatly enough, on the bed here, figuring out the camera, there we go. They've actually molded in these teeth, and they look to be, actually I need to check right now, they look to be Mod 1 gears, tooth spacing, which if that's the case, would be very, very easy for me to utilize that to move the house. So let me pull one of my Mod 1 pinion gears out here. Let's see if that's true. If not, there's other ways, but that would definitely simplify the build. Grab that here, pull that in. All right, so looking at that, yeah, it is definitely Mod 1. Wow, what a trip. It is Mod 1. So that makes that real easy. I can basically just grind these little nuts down here. You won't even see them anyway. They're underneath the house. Grind those down, and then, let's see, do I have it? Yeah, here it is. So this is the part that sits on here. So then all I have to do at that point is I go over here. There's a lot of open space, I think on this side, yeah. So what I can do over here is cut this out mount a servo in here facing downward, and quite literally make a Mod 1 like this. I can 3D print it, or there's all kinds of ways. Put that on the end of the servo, and a 360-degree servo, and there we go. It'll just turn itself around there. So this actually moves fairly smoothly, especially if I have a little grease. It probably move real easy. Yeah, that makes that really, really simple. So that's how I can move my house. So I'll be working on the actuators for the arm first, then the servo mount here, so we can turn the house. The next part after that, we'll probably be working on the weights. So these are the weights right here. It's actually decently heavy. I don't know if I'll have strong enough actuators. So what I did is I bought electromagnets. So this spins this way, and these actually have a cradle. They sit in back here. And my goal is to put some electromagnets in the house so that in this position we can activate them and they'll suck up and lock on and stay attached. Right now it uses these little red latches, but I want it to be remote as possible. So this actually has a decent amount of weight. Hopefully it's, I wonder what they have in there. So curious. It's only one latch to take it apart. I'm gonna have to take that apart later and see what did they throw in there. What kind of garbage? It definitely sounds like a bunch of metal scraps. All right. So yeah, then I'll probably work on that part since I have this open. Lastly, on this part, we'll probably, yeah, maybe some detail stuff, lights. After that, lots of stuff here. I've got all the individual legs here, so snap into the bottom of this. In each part here. Here we better. So on this part, my goal is to probably mount a servo here and a servo here. And there'll be a linkage arm that comes out to swing these out. And then each of these, I have more actuators. These little guys are pretty awesome. They're super small, but they will mount into here to replace this gray piece. And we'll have an actuated foot that can get lowered down and put into position. So I'll probably cut this little ear off here. Won't be needed. I'll mount this into this. Have to play around with this. We got a little longer here, but I think it'll still clear. Yeah, that's because it's bright and high enough. This will still clear, so the foot will be right at the bottom of this. And then these actuate down, and I'll have 4 of them. There'll be 1 on each leg. And that'll give us the lift capability to lift it on the ground for crane operations. So lots of things to work on. Just wanted to keep you guys updated. Taking this thing apart was pretty much a 2-hour, 3-hour endeavor this morning, just because of how hard Bruder makes it. I wanted to break as little as possible because I want to reuse some of these snaps. The ability to take it apart again. Obviously, it was really hard to do this time, but having that ability is pretty awesome. As opposed to gluing it all back together, if something goes out or breaks or I have to replace a part, I want it to be as serviceable as possible. All right, guys. Well, I will maybe go live again after I get some of this stuff cut out and ready to mount. Yesterday was a 2-hour video, most of it at my chassis. I will save you guys from that again and try to keep you up to date on just the really cool stuff. Probably cut this out, maybe go live again when I'm doing some of my fusion work on the 3D printed parts, just how I measure it, how I assemble those things, do all the math, and then maybe some videos on how I get that all mounted in there. Final assembly, show you it working, stuff like that. Let me know what you guys want to see. I'm doing this because I had a lot of people ask, and wanted to see where it would go. So, all right, thanks again, guys. I'll keep this short, sweet, and see you again when I have some more work done.